Hey, what's going on, guys? Now, I saw over 50 movies in theaters this year, and today I'm going to take on the task of reviewing and ranking all of them. So stay tuned. And spoiler alert, Madam Webb is not at the bottom of the list. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris. Thank you for being here. If you're into movies, pop culture, we talk about that and a whole lot more in this channel, so please drop a like, drop a thumbs up, click subscribe. We're a small channel trying to grow, really helps us out. Also, follow us on socials, because every time I went to the movies this year, I let you guys know I was seeing this movie or these movies. And you definitely should follow me if you're into movies, because I would love to have a discussion with you guys about movies and pretty much anything. So without further ado, let's hop into this, because this is going to take a minute. So quick reminder, guys, this is just my opinion. This whole list is my opinion of where I rank them. So feel free to discuss down in the comments. I'd love to have a discussion with you, like I said before. So last but not least, well, definitely least in this case, Night Swim. Terrible movie. Had some promise, but an evil swimming pool is kind of a, it's just a letdown. It played out like a typical, supernatural possession movie, and it just was very uninspired. So dead last on this list. Controversial pick, but I had to put Lisa Frankenstein on here. I did not enjoy this at all. I know a lot of people did. I really enjoyed Jennifer's Body back from 2009. That's kind of weird to say, but it's true. If you guys are familiar with that movie. But yeah, this just didn't do it for me, and I was really disappointed. I know a lot of people liked it, but it doesn't have any replay value to me. Like, I would watch Night Swim again over this, but I feel like this had at least a little bit more thought put into it. Now we're gonna put Madam Webb at the bottom of the list, right? Terrible movie. Could have been so good. The execution was just very poor. I mean, they had a great cast with like Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney. I love Sydney Sweeney, but they just missed the mark completely in this movie. If you're a fan of the comics, you'll be extremely disappointed. I mean, how do you have 3 Spider-Women on film for the first time and they only show up in their costume for like maybe 10 minutes? I'm a huge fan of the Borderlands games. I had fun playing them with my friends. So when they came out with a movie, I was excited, thought it was going to be really good, till I saw it and saw that they made a movie filled with big actors and actresses that couldn't even live up to a tenth of the story of Borderlands. Very disappointing. You never need to see this, so just skip it completely. I give a little bit more credit to the Mousetrap, seeing as how they filmed it when they didn't know if this was actually going to come out. So they were investing resources into something that they didn't know was ever going to see the light of day. Because of, the ownership rights of Walt Disney and Steamboat Willie, they weren't sure this movie was going to come out, but I still wish they would have put just a little bit more effort into it. It's not very good. Imaginary was another misfire by Blumhouse this year, along with Night Swim and a couple of other ones. An imaginary friend can be a scary premise. I mean, I've seen other shows and movies do it better, like Supernatural, the episode with the giant teddy bear, if you guys remember. But this was just, it had a good premise up until the end. The end just kind of shit the bed. It had me doing the whole head thing, like, I went to see Afraid with the AI italicized, that movie about the artificial intelligence. It was decent, it just wasn't great. They kind of missed the mark, again, like a lot of these at the bottom of the list. And, it was just, at the end of the day, you're just kind of like, okay, I wasn't upset that I went to see it, but it didn't rock my world. Terror was one of those movies that looked really good. I thought it was going to be like a really cool horror movie, till you get there and you realize that it's a horror comedy and that they're leaning a little bit more towards the comedy aspect of it. Some really cool designs like the Jester, but ultimately it just doesn't pay off. All the cool creepy stuff just really doesn't work at the end. So going to see The Watchers, produced by, I think it was also directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. I kind of felt there was going to be a twist. It just didn't work. Like, I kind of saw it coming a mile away. Just watching, I'm like, okay, this, and this is going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. It just, left a lot to be desired. Not very scary. The creatures, a little bit too CGI for me. Just kind of all the way around. If you love B movies, Werewolves will be for you. I had kind of mixed feelings about placing it so low on the list, but the effects were pretty cool. They seemed to go with like some practical effects, mixed it with a little bit of CGI that didn't work all the time. It's just the story and the plot. Like, they were really going for B movie, and it just, you know, some B movies are like so bad they're good, and this one is just kind of so bad it's still just bad. Elevation is one of those horror movies where it tries to be very character driven and their monsters come second. The problem is The Walking Dead does it really good that way, and Elevation does not, and that's what it's trying to emulate, is The Walking Dead. It's not the only offender on this list, but it just, the world building that they do and the characters and the dialogue just don't work to make you care about the characters, and at the end of the day it just kind of falls flat, and it seems like they're trying to build a sequel, build a universe, and I just don't think that's gonna fly. Salem's Lot I enjoyed on Max. I thought it was a decent horror film, and especially finding out it's been in development hell for a few years, I think they pulled it off very nicely, and streaming is where it belonged. There was some weird CGI, but I liked the story. I liked the creepiness. A decent movie. The ending felt kind of rushed, but I think you'll enjoy it. Never Let Go is going to be a movie that will always be close to my heart. First movie that we were asked to promote here on the channel, and I went to go see it. It was good. There was, you know, some story issues in it. It seemed like they were doing a little bit of world building, trying to get towards a sequel. There was definitely some questions that weren't answered in the movie, so I would definitely go see a sequel. I think it's worth your time to watch at least once. It did have some good creepy effects in there, so be sure to check it out. Trap is the other movie from the Shyamalan family. M. Night Shyamalan wrote, I believe he wrote and directed this one. You know, this got some hate for it. I enjoyed it up until the end. I thought his twist was very predictable. In my personal opinion, it's not even really a twist. It just is, it's been done a million times. I enjoyed it. I think you might enjoy it too. It's fun, again, up until the end, and it's always cool to see, you know, kind of like that split personality or psychosis in your main character. Not all horror comes from supernatural entities. Sometimes it comes from the elderly, as we find out in The Front Room, starring Brandy. This movie I thought was going to be a little bit more traditional horror. This was more or less like experience, psychological horror. A decent watch. Just, you may not want to be eating while you watch this movie. There's a lot of defecation. So A Quiet Place Day One is another prime example of character-driven horror and your monster coming in like second fiddle. I think the Quiet Place series has kind of run its course, especially with this third one. Unfortunately, I mean, you got to have the characters that really draw you in, and these two characters, like, it just didn't draw me in. It's not like the family from the first one. They just need to have like a proper sequel and maybe tie this thing up. Again, these are my opinions. So challengers. Way too much penis. I was not expecting that going into this. I kind of thought it was going to be this generation's Wild Things. Judging from the trailers, it was a complete bait and switch. That's all I really got to say. The story, good, but a lot of penis. So Monkey Man is another example of a trend that Hollywood is trying to follow with action movies, where they're trying to make a lot of their action movies like John Wick. It's a good story. I enjoyed it. You know, it's probably one of those movies you just need to see once and you never need to see again, but the kick, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. That kick, like towards the end, flawless. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it yet. So Civil War, I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. I caught it when it was on Max. I think it's still on Max. It's a very heavy movie, especially that ending. It's a very, in my opinion, scary movie. It's not a horror movie, but it's scary. It's one of those things that'll keep you thinking even after it's over. It can be pretty heavy at times, so definitely check it out if you want to, but just be forewarned, it's a little bit heavy. The Strangers Chapter 1. Now, I loved the original, and I feel that's a classic horror movie, a modern classic. This one got a lot of criticism for being very similar to that one, and with good reason. Now, they did shoot 3 movies back to back, and I kind of want to wait to see the other 2 before I really pass judgment on this one. But the ending kind of is a twist and that the original didn't have, and I think people were maybe just a little bit too harsh on it. It's still a good movie. Even if you saw the original, loved it, I would still give this one a shot. Maxine was a bit of a disappointment for me. I saw X, I enjoyed X, saw Pearl, I was so-so on Pearl. I thought Maxine was gonna kind of be like Return True to Form, and it just kind of felt like its own thing. It didn't work as well for me as I think X is the best one out of the trilogy. It did have some pretty good practical effects. If you saw X, if you saw Pearl and you liked it, definitely check out Maxine to finish up the storyline. There is, some continuation there, but all in all, when I left the theater, I was a bit disappointed. So September 5 or September 5th, I don't know how they're pronouncing this, but it's based on a true story. It was one of those Regal mystery movies that I went to. It's about the actual events of the Olympics, where the hostages were murdered in a terrorist attack. I don't know why anybody thought it was a good idea to make a movie about the Newsroom that handled it, but they did. The movie is okay. It'll keep you interested, but it's just like, I don't know why the Newsroom was worthy of making a movie. It's just my opinion. The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. This is another movie where they're trying to emulate John Wick and have some action, but this time add some Statham into it. Decent movie. I like the premise, like the plot. It just ended a little weird for me, just kind of like all of a sudden it ended. Definitely worth checking out. It was a fun ride. It's not perfect. I don't think any Jason Statham movies are like amazing. They're good. They're fun. They're popcorn flicks, and this one is good too. Takes on a bit of a message that you can get behind too. Blink Twice is a movie with some heavy subject matter. I enjoyed the movie. Thought it was pretty good. It did leave with some plot holes. It has some strong feminist messages, but the plot holes just kind of made me wonder, like, okay, she was on the island the year before. That's the big twist. Spoiler alert. But why did they let her off the island? There were some things that they should have, answered. But all in all, definitely worth checking out. But again, heavy subject material. Kraven the Hunter, I feel, got a bit of a bad rap. Is the movie perfect? No. Is it decent? Yeah, it's a hell of a lot better than Madam Webb. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't think I was going to like the movie. I just think critics were just a little too harsh in this movie. It's definitely a good time, a fun time. I mean, it's something that you should at least see once. They were criticizing some of the character designs and some of the CGI, and no, they're not perfect, but what they were attempting to do, I think they did well enough. It's not like you didn't know what animal they were making. They did a good job. So I went to see RedOne with The Rock, and I enjoyed it. I'm not a big Christmas movie fan. I thought this was just going to be kind of lame and warm and everything, and it has some of those elements too, but they really did try to make it fun, and there's a lot of special effects that I think you'll enjoy. There's definitely a different take of Santa delivering presents. I thought it was good for what it was. It's a Christmas movie that, you might watch every year or whatever. It's better than some of the specials they reshow every year. Joker Folie à Deux got a lot of hate this year. Probably just as much as Madam Webb. A lot of people were unaware of the fact that it was a musical, which I don't know how you could have been. A lot of people missed the point of the movie. Again, I don't know how you could do that, but I enjoyed it. I didn't like it as much as the original, but I still think it's good. It's decent. It's definitely something you should check out going with an open mind. That's all I can tell you. Y2K was a lot of fun. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. If you grew up in roughly that time, if you were a teenager or a young adult at that time, you will greatly appreciate Y2K. A lot of fun. I think it's a little underrated, judging from the box office and some of the reviews, but if you were a skater kid, if you listened to Limp Bizkit, if you were just alive at that Y2K, the turn of the century, the millennium, this movie is for you. You will enjoy it. You're welcome. Speak No Evil was a movie I saw a trailer for just about every time I went to the movies before its release. I was tired of seeing the trailers. Seeing the movie, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was good. It was a little rough around the edges in certain parts, and James McAvoy turned in a great performance, as he always does. You're kind of wondering, like, what the protagonist, what the couple, what they're thinking, especially the father, but it was definitely a decent flick. You should see it at least once. I haven't seen the original. I heard it's very different, but it does have a somewhat happy ending, in case you're concerned. Argyle was another movie that got a lot of hate this year. I liked it. I thought the story was pretty cool. I didn't particularly care for the tie-in to Kingsman. Spoiler alert, but here we are at the end of the year. I enjoyed Bryce Dallas Howard. I thought she did really good. For the type of movie it was, I thought it handled the plot twist and everything really well. Especially being set in the Kingsman universe, it felt like a proper extension. The only thing I find weird is having Samuel L. Jackson in it, being as how he was the villain in the original Kingsman, but what do I know? So another controversial pick, Deadpool and Wolverine. I think it's ironic that Marvel has to keep going back to the early 2000s and bring back characters in order to have a hit now. The cameos is what made the movie for me. I loved seeing Jennifer Garner back as Elektra, seeing Wesley Snipes back as Blade. I loved the dynamic between Wolverine and Deadpool. It's just I like a more serious type of superhero movie, and there's more comedy in that. All in all, I think it's mid. I know a lot of people think that this should be higher and that they loved it, but it's just kind of average for me. Alien Romulus comes in next, and it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I'm not a huge Alien fan. I'm not a big sci-fi guy, to be honest. I like horror movies, and sci-fi just never really works well for me, but this I enjoyed. I enjoyed the creature at the end. I don't know what he's called. I don't remember. I thought that was a good job. Definitely check out some behind the scenes stuff to see the guy that was in the costume or whatever. It's pretty creepy, but all in all, good movie. I know they're coming out with another one. I'll definitely go see that. Your Monster was a rom-com that came out earlier this year that didn't get a lot of love. Melissa Barrera's in it. It was one of those Regal Mystery Movie Monday things I went to go see. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It was a bit predictable towards the end, but I thought the movie had a lot of heart, was very funny. It was very good. So if you get the chance to see it, you should at least see it once. It's a lot of fun. The Order was another movie that is based off of a true story on another terrorist plot. I don't really want to dwell too much into what it's about. You can Google it and see for yourself, but I will say it was a well-made movie, a bit heavy, so be forewarned if you do see it. It is a bit heavy, and knowing it's a true story is just kind of sad, but it is a well-made movie and it's very good. I do believe it's still out in theaters now. The Fire Inside is another movie based on a true story, this time of Clarissa Shields. If you don't recognize the name, she is the first woman to win a gold medal in boxing. I thought the movie was very good, very well done. You could really feel like you were there. If you don't know, she's like from Flint, Michigan, and that's not a very wealthy area. I've been there myself. I've seen it firsthand. I did like this movie. Brian Tyree Henry is in the movie. I enjoy him as an actor. He was in the Godzilla vs. Kong films, both of them. He was great as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie got some awards buzz. I don't know about Oscar, but I will say, Golden Globes is not out of the question. Another controversial placing on this list, we've got Wicked. Now, a lot of people might be surprised for it. Wicked is not typically a movie I would go to see, but this is like what traditionally a movie would have been, especially back in the day, you know? Lots of songs, lots of dance, big numbers, bright colors, you know? It's a good movie. My problem with it was it just went like really long. I think they could have shaved it down a little bit. I know some of the fans are gonna hate me for that, but it was just a little long for me. I kind of was fighting to stay awake. But definitely a high quality movie, if just a little long. Cuckoo was a movie that had me at the trailer, with the scene with the girl riding her bike and seeing the shadow and looking back and there's a hand reaching out trying to grab her. I was so excited to see this movie, and it's a good movie. A little weird, a little creepy, kind of works. It's one of those things that all the elements kind of work together, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I think it's definitely worth your time and should be on your to watch list. I kind of hope they do a sequel, because again, there are some questions that I really want answered. Heretic is a bit of a slow burn, but it's one of those movies where it's trying to like make a point, and I think it does it very well. If you are offended by religion and religious texts and the questioning of religion, then this movie won't be for you. I'll just get that right out of the way. But I thought it was very well done. Hugh Grant does a great job. I loved him and both the actresses that were in this movie. Definitely check this out. You don't want to miss this. It's not a high gore, high body content, you know, in terms of kills, but it will make you think, and it is pretty scary. Transformers 1 is one of those movies that I was on the fence about. I'm not a big fan of CGI cartoons. I love Transformers Prime, and I like the origin story they told there. Watching this, I did like the movie. I just thought the ending came a little bit quick. Like they just wrapped everything up like very fast, and really defining how or what set Optimus Prime and Megatron apart. I think it happened very quickly, in my opinion. Other than that, cool movie, great cast. You know, I do hope we get Peter Weller back though for Transformers 2. Longlegs was a nice, creepy, supernatural version of Silence of the Lambs. I enjoyed it. You know, there was a lot of hype and a lot of hiding of what Nicolas Cage was going to look like in this movie. Turns out he looked like a guy I went to high school with, unfortunately. But it was a good movie. My only, if I would say, complaint would be it seemed to mix a lot of elements together that don't really get answered by the end, but still definitely a good watch. I enjoyed Twisters a lot more than I thought I was going to. Normally I wouldn't have gone to see this because I really don't like the original. It's one of those movies I've seen and I just don't like it, yet I watch it when it comes on. It's weird, I know. I think we all have a movie like that. But this one was much better. Doesn't tie into the original at all. The CGI is good, and what really had me wanting to go see it was that tornado with fire in it. Like, that looked really cool. A fun movie. I think you guys will like it. I hope they do a sequel. I really enjoyed Smile 2. I liked how they upped the ante a little bit, and I think the hallway scene is probably one of the creepiest scenes ever. If you know, you know. Can't wait to see Smile 3. One of the things I would say was a bit of a letdown was we kind of all predicted the ending. It was supposed to be the big shock twist ending, but like people in the theater, when I would see the trailers, they would be like, well, you know how it's going to end. This is going to happen. And it's exactly what happened. I mean, it was covered online. So if you've heard the spoiler or the theory of how it was going to end, it did. Anora is a comedy drama about a prostitute that marries one of the guys that hires her. And you know, the premise has kind of been played out before. It's been done before. There was something about the movie that just made me like, I gotta see this. And I'm glad I did. It was good. It was fun. I think it went on just a little bit long, and I think they forgot sometimes that they were, or to advertise that it was a comedy, like they were really going towards the drama in the trailers. And then they kind of add in some comedy where it kind of feels out of place. But it's definitely worth a watch. I will just say, be careful who you watch it with, because there is a lot of nudity and sexual content. So just be forewarned. The First Omen is a prequel to the original Omen. I am not a huge fan of the Omen movies, but I really did enjoy this. I thought it was really well done. The only thing is that it's very predictable. The ending you see coming. Like, I don't know who saw this and didn't know what was going to happen at the end, but still, even though I knew what was going to happen and the big twist in it, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's a good movie. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. In a Violent Nature was very polarizing. Having a movie from the killer's perspective, I thought was good, and I thought they did a good job of it. You know, it kind of flips that whole dynamic on its head. Usually they follow the victims around, but they follow the killer. It is a little bit of a slow burn, but I think it pays off, to me at least. I was very excited to see this. Now, the ending, I hear the complaints from some people, and I kind of understand it. But to me, like, the ending was just another description of another time that Johnny woke up. A lot of people, I don't think they got that, because they just like, there's just this big long speech at the end for nothing. I personally took it as he's been back before. But again, this is just my opinion, but I really enjoyed In a Violent Nature. I really enjoyed Abigail. For those that don't know, it's a remake of Dracula's Daughter. What I really liked about it, I liked the actress that was in it, that played Abigail. I don't remember her name, but she was very good. She's a ballerina vampire. That was kind of the tag that they were going for. Kind of making a joke a little bit about it, but it's still a little bit more of a serious horror film. Kind of doing the opposite of what Tarot did, honestly. I thought Melissa Barrera was pretty good, and I would like to see a sequel. This little girl that was in the movie that played Abigail was really good, a really good actress, a really good ballet dancer, and I would definitely like to see another entry. Sting is a movie that I thought was going to get a wider release, and at the time they were talking about it, and I guess, you know, things change. I did get to see it on one of the Regal Mystery Movie Monday things. I was very happy to see it. It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. For those that don't know, it's about this alien spider that this little girl takes as a pet, but it keeps growing and killing and growing until it's a giant size. Doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's a lot of fun. I kind of hope it hits like streaming or something so more people can see this movie. It was a lot of fun. Had lots of comedy in it. It was really good. If you guys get the opportunity, check out Sting. Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire is next on the list, and I love Godzilla personally. I was super excited for this movie. It didn't disappoint. I just kind of wish it was more than just kaiju fighting, like they just went a little bit deeper, but there is going to be another entry into the franchise, so I'm looking forward to that. If you haven't seen it, which I don't know how anybody hasn't seen Godzilla and Kong yet, do check it out. It's a lot of fun. The Substance with Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley was definitely a surprise this year. It covers a lot of ground, right? Like, there's the message of feminism and aging out of Hollywood, and then there's the message I think that kind of got overlooked in, you know, how we treat our bodies when we're younger is how we're going to age, and you know, it's the same person. You know, a lot of people miss that message in the movie, but it's very good, very bloody. It is a body horror movie. If blood makes you squeamish or freaky body mutilation, stuff like that, then this isn't the movie for you, but I really think you should check it out. We're closing in, guys, so number 5 is going to be Immaculate. Immaculate drew a lot of comparisons with the First Omen, and I feel Immaculate did it better. It was telling its own story. It does have a very surprise ending, a bit of a twist ending. One of the things I will tell you is that they kind of advertise that it's like a supernatural horror movie. It's not at all. It's all human malice, and to me that was one of the redeeming qualities of the movie. And I definitely think you guys should check it out. It was a lot of fun. You know, I don't think there'll be a sequel, but this was definitely pretty good. Late Night with the Devil is probably one of the smartest horror films that came out this year. It drew a little controversy with an AI character in the back, I guess, but you won't notice it, and honestly, I don't care. It was such a smart story. It really felt like a play, like you're watching a play, but it's a movie, and they did a very good job of separating like that 70s talk show vibe with like the more cinematic aspect of it. It's just a really good movie. Go check it out and see it for yourselves. So this is a prime example of box office doesn't equal quality. Strange Darling was one of the freshest movies this year, in my opinion. It didn't make much at the box office, but the storytelling that they did was very impressive. It's a non-linear story. There is a twist. I don't want to get too much into it. I think you should experience it for yourself. It's very Pulp Fiction-y, you know, where they tell the bits of the story out of order. And I think it's definitely a risk that paid off, and the performances by Willa Fitzgerald. I followed her for a while. If you don't remember her, she was on Reacher, the first season of Reacher. She's very good. And Kyle Gallner, I think is how you pronounce his last name. I've watched him too for years. He used to be on Smallville, and he did a really good job. I'm going a little bit longer in this part of the review because this movie is definitely worth it. So be sure to check it out. Terrifier 3 comes in at number 2. Now, this isn't for the faint of heart. If you're squeamish, Terrifier 3 is not for you. But what I will say is this movie, like, does it have the best story? No. But what it does with its main character who doesn't say a word, what it does with practical effects. I love practical effects. And you can tell a lot of love, a lot of passion goes into making these movies. And I don't want you to think that just because I said it doesn't have the best story, that there's no story. It's definitely an improvement on Terrifier 2, which was an improvement on Terrifier. They keep getting better each time they go. It's a great movie. You definitely should check it out if you can handle a lot of blood and guts and gore. This is like a 10 on the gore factor, maybe even an 11. And plus, luckily, if you guys don't know, you should follow me on social media. You would have known. I recently got to meet Samantha Scafidi, who plays Victoria Hayes in all 3 Terrifier films, and she was a delight. So, and I'm a huge fan of Art the Clown and these Terrifier movies. So, if you can handle it, go watch it. Coming in at number 1 on this list of 2024's best movies, in my opinion, I've got Bad Boys Ride or Die. Now some people may disagree, and again, this is my list, so whatevs. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. They really brought that friendship that we love to see between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. And they've made it just like how they've made the other ones, where you can watch them again and not get tired of them, at least in my opinion. The story was good. Seeing roles kind of reverse between Martin and Will in this was fresh. I really hope we get another one. I know they're getting to the point where they may not want to make any more, but this was another solid entry into the franchise. And it's the one I went to go see again multiple times. I think I saw it like maybe 3 or 4 times. I saw this more than I saw Terrifier 3. So that's why I got to have it on this list. A lot of fun. And that's the list, guys. I hope you enjoyed my list of how I ranked the movies I saw in 2024. If you have any opinions, down in the comments, let me know. I'd love to debate with you. With that being said, thanks for watching this, and I hope you guys have a safe holiday, or by the time you see this, the holiday will already pass, but there's going to be New Year's. I hope you have a safe New Year's, and with that, we will see you next time. So please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the social media things. Help me fight the YouTube algorithm. Ring the bell. Be sure to check out thewellroundeddude.com. The website is really the hub of everything we do here. You can find, links to some offers from people who believe in the channel, from brands that I think would greatly help you out. You'll find links to our Amazon storefront, which has got some really cool stuff that I've curated for you that I think would help you out, including some movies. There might even be some of the movies that have already made it to video from this list. So we will see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.